A new year, but the same old Pittsburgh Steelers. So, it's another late season collapse by the Pittsburgh Steelers, what looked to be a top tier defense falling apart at the end of the season. And we've seen the same thing happen every year, and once again this year, the same thing is happening. But first, before I get more into that, make sure you subscribe to this channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, the same thing happens every single year. It seems as though the Pittsburgh Steelers are in a solid position. They are doing good record-wise, their team's rolling, their offense is rolling, their defense gets going, and then when that happens, the end of the season comes along. And what happens at the end of the season? Well, the Steelers start losing so many games, their offense falls apart, their defense falls apart, and the top tier teams start beating the Steelers easily, they start getting blown out, and the Steelers collapse. And their defense collapse, everything about the Steelers just goes downhill. And once again this year, the same thing is happening. I could get started from the offense. For example, the Steelers in the middle of the season, when Russell Wilson took over, started putting up 30 plus points, and their offense looked like they're getting rolling. And it looked like they're beating teams with ease in terms of putting up points against good teams, and even beating the bad teams. It just looked like the team was really good. They were staying at 10 wins. What were they? Like 10-3, 10-4. And then late towards the end of the season, what happened? The offense falls apart. The offense comes along and it just can't score any more points. They start facing better teams and then they lose 3 straight games. And then they're still stuck at 10 wins 3 weeks later. They go from being able to run the ball with ease, having Najee Harris, having Jalen Warren, being able to run the ball, having Russell Wilson be able to throw the ball to George Pickens and score touchdowns with ease, and just do it all as offense, and just playing solid. It was nothing flashy, but it was just really solid, and it looked like they were all together. And then it goes downhill. They can't run the ball no more. The offensive line looks like it can't pass block anymore. And then Russell Wilson, it looks like he's now showing his age. And then you look at the running backs, it looks like Najee Harris he got a 1,000-yard season and everything else just doesn't matter anymore. And then Jalen Warren comes in and he looks like your best running back again. We heard this story last year. Jalen Warren comes in and he looks like your best running back. It's supposed to be Najee Harris, but it's Jalen Warren right now. And then the quarterback stops playing well. The offensive line looking like rookies now out there, and they just can't do anything as offense anymore. But it's not even just about the offense, because the same thing happens with the defense every year. For example, let me just break down the defense now. The top tier defense, I believe they're like second or first in the league in turnovers. They're top of the league in just defensive rating and things like that. And then towards the end of the season, what happens? They give up 30 plus points, they give up 29 points, 27 points, and it just looks like they can't stop anyone. Yes, that's not even over 30, but it's like teams are going down the field with ease. The Steelers can't stop anyone. For example, the Eagles only gave the Steelers offense 2 possessions the entire half because the defense just couldn't get off the field. The defense couldn't stop anyone. The Eagles had the ball the entire second half. So it's just that teams are now beating the Pittsburgh Steelers, and it just looks convincing from their part. And it looks like the Steelers are giving no type of energy, and it just seems like it's a collapse. Every year in the playoffs, too, when we see this, it's just like every year, just like, for example, when they lost the Browns, the Jaguars, things like that, it's the highest points they give up in a game in the season, the entire year, and that's happening in the playoffs. So we're seeing the same thing happen every single year, a collapse by the defense, and the top tier players no longer doing top tier things, and then the cornerbacks, the inside linebackers not playing up to standard and things like that. For example, we see all these players on the team like Deshaun Elliott, Cameron Hayward, Alex Highsmith, we've seen Patrick Queen multiple weeks just call out this defense for miscommunication, just playing very poorly, not doing their job. And the same thing happens every year because there's just wide open people and it's just easy catches. For example, Travis Kelce, he was open for 7 yards, no one even close to him, 7 times for like 10 plus yards. How can the best player on the Chiefs in terms of receiving be wide open every single play? There's just breakdowns of the defense. It just doesn't make sense, but this happens every season. We've seen it against the Browns in the playoffs. We've seen it against the Jaguars. We've seen it every single season. And once again, this year, it looks like the same thing is happening. So hopefully they get on the same page. But as of right now, it looks like it's a new year, but the same old Pittsburgh Steelers. And the thing with this, though, is people could go out there and blame, hey, the Steelers played 3 games in 10 days. hey, the Pittsburgh Steelers are injured. They have a lot of people out right now. They have other players just out for the week and things like that. But when you think about it like that, it just puts it even worse because there's teams going through the exact same thing. The Pittsburgh Steelers aren't the most injured team in the NFL. The Detroit Lions are. And look at the Detroit Lions. They're going out there and beating teams by so many points, going out there and just doing their job week in and week out. And then when you bring up the 3 games in 10 days, you look at the Baltimore Ravens. They had the exact same thing happen. And what did they do? They went out and won all 3 games. The Pittsburgh Steelers went out and lost all 3 games. You also had the Texans play those 3 games in 10 days. The Chiefs play 3 games in 10 days. And they won all 3 as well. So when you look at that, you can't make that excuse to the Steelers because other teams are going through the same thing, if not worse. And when you look at the Ravens were 3 games back of the Steelers. The Steelers were 3 games up on the Ravens. And what did they do? They blew the AFC North. The AFC North was the Steelers to win, to host a playoff game. The Steelers were there to win it. All they had to do is beat one more team, beat the Ravens at one time, and they would have won the AFC North. They had a 3-game lead. But no, what happened? The Steelers choke it. And that happens every year. The Steelers play worse towards the end of the season after having a good season to begin with, and then things go downhill. And once again, the Steelers choke against all those teams, the top tier teams, the Eagles, the Ravens, the Chiefs, choke against all of them, lose all of those games. And now what do you see? The Ravens won all of them, and the Ravens are atop the AFC North. All they have to do is win this week, and the Ravens win the AFC North, and the Steelers lose it. After the Steelers, it looked like it was an easy win for the division, being up 3 games, but no, it's not anymore. The Steelers need the Ravens to lose, the Steelers need to win, and that's the only way they can win the AFC North. So is that going to happen? Probably not. Will the Steelers win this week? Who knows? After all the last 3 games happened, and losing against good offenses, they're facing a good offense in the Cincinnati Bengals this week. Will they win this game? Who knows? And then the playoffs. Who says that they're even going to win another playoff game? The Steelers haven't won a playoff game in 8+ years? Whatever it has been. They haven't won a playoff game in so long. What's to think now things will change when it's a collapse late towards the end of the season? Will they go out there and beat the Texans even though they're injured? Who knows? The Texans still have CJ Stroud, Nico Collins, Joe Mixon, a good offense. So if they start turning things around, who knows if they go out and beat them? And then you look at what happens that they face the Ravens. They just lost the Ravens convincingly, and the Ravens kind of destroyed them. I know they beat the Ravens early in the season, but who's to say that they're going to stop the top tier Ravens? So if they go out and maybe face, what's the other team? The Chargers? I know it's probably not going to happen, but just say the Ravens do lose, the Steelers win. Are they going to beat the Chargers? Probably not. The Chargers are rolling right now. Their defense looks like a top-tier defense. Justin Herbert's playing the best ball of his career. Their wide receivers are getting going and doing as a collective, things like that. So will they beat the Chargers? Who knows at this point? So will the Steelers win a playoff game this year? Hopefully something changes. Hopefully they win a playoff game. Hopefully they turn things around. But as of it looks right now, it just looks like the same old Pittsburgh Steelers. So I was going to make a video. It was going to be the exact same title, a new year, but a different Pittsburgh Steelers, something like that. It's just talking positive about the Steelers. But then I thought, hey, I just need to see something from the Pittsburgh Steelers, see something this week versus the Cincinnati Bengals that shows, hey, they're capable of turning this around. They're capable of offense or defense of turning this around and winning a playoff game. Just show me something and I'll make that video. Because as of right now, why would I make that video and talk positive light and shine it on the Steelers if they just went and lost 3 straight games? It looks like they may lose 4 straight games heading to playoffs. Just show me something before the playoffs, something against the Cincinnati Bengals, and I'll make that video shining a positive light on the Steelers. So that's what I was waiting for. But right now, a new year, a bad Pittsburgh Steelers, and the same old Pittsburgh Steelers, that's not a good sign. It has not been a good light in the playoffs for however many years, and it looks like it's going downhill once again. But anyway, that's the end of this video. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on this video and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Do you think they have any shot when it comes to facing any team in the playoffs? And who do you think they would have the best shot at winning against? The Texans, the Ravens, the Chargers? And also, do you believe they're going to turn things around, or do you believe they're just going to go downhill? And why do you think it's going downhill? Why do you think that this happens every single season, every single year by our team? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And also, would you like to see that positive light be shining on the Steelers and me make the video of why it's a different team, why they're going to turn things around? Let me know your thoughts. And also, make sure you subscribe to this channel. and turn on notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis reports. Everything surrounding the Pittsburgh Steelers, I cover it. I'll continue to cover it as we head into the playoffs here shortly and beyond it. So, subscribe, turn on notifications, like the video, and until the next video, I'll see you guys all later. I'm out. Peace.